history.
Hi, I'm so glad to be asked to speak to everyone here. We all know that this is the biggest social business event that McGill has had in a while, so congratulations for the event. My name is Faiz Shah, and I am the director of the Yunus Center at the Asian Institute of Technology in Bangkok. I've been here now 4 years, and before this, of course, spent some time working first as a teacher, then as a development worker in a number of countries, and then as a corporate person running a soccer business. So this gives me a kind of a interesting perspective on social business as a subject from a variety of directions. I Social business, the way Professor Yunus has refined the concept, has a long tradition in the way people have used the power of enterprise, the power of markets to benefit others. So one might say that social business in a more general term is not a new concept. But what Professor Yunus has brought to this is a very tangible, very specific, and very performance driven model of social business, where a business runs just like any other business in the world, but it has a purpose, and that purpose is to solve a social problem. The second thing that Professor Yunus has kind of concretized into this concept is that profits are all right, but they must not enrich a few. They must not be distributed as dividends to just one or two or few of the people that work hard to make those profits, but they should be pulled right back into the business to expand the benefit that such profits are bringing to solving more social problems or solving the same social problem for a larger number of people. So to me, this interpretation of social business is particularly interesting because we find that this is perhaps in contrast to the common perception that profits are bad, and an equally common perception, and also perhaps not accurate, that profits are only for those who invest. This third kind of model, which is Professor Yunus' social business model, takes the business and runs it as a business, but then divides up or disseminates or trickles down the profits to solving social problems for a large number of people. So I was also asked how I ended up here. And the reason I want to link what I'm going to say to what I've just said is that when I trained as a medical doctor many years ago and went into public health as a specialization, the idea was to help as many people as much as was possible over as little time as possible. But the way clinical practice is designed in our world today, that's not always possible or even smart. But then, as a public health doctor moving towards policy and then teaching, I realized that business might be another area where you can bring the same value, the same feeling of helping a lot of people within a short period of time to work. And so when I entered business as a company person, manufacturing and selling sporting goods, I realized that social business is actually possible. That when profits come in, when businesses do well, a lot of businesses ask what they can or what they want to do with some of the profits that individuals or owners of that company are making. And so that was the beginning of my journey into social business. This idea of giving back to community, this idea of sharing the profits, this idea of sharing the rewards of hard work amongst not only the people who own the business, but people who helped make profits come. And so that was where I at least began. And then slowly, as I learned more about Professor Yunus's model, and when I joined AIT, running one of the divisions here, I suddenly realized that whatever I had learnt, whatever I had worked on, could come together very nicely in developing ideas from Professor Yunus and similar thoughts, and converting them into smaller projects that could teach younger people who are training to be managers, training to be businessmen, training to be entrepreneurs, bring those ideas to their training, and so that they can be groomed into more responsible ways of doing business, more sharing ways of doing business, more participatory ways of doing business, in ways that not necessarily diminish the profit or the value of the business model itself, but actually helps disseminate the benefits of that to a wider and a more perhaps deeper layer of society. So that's perhaps my journey towards YCA. How I came on board the Yunus Center at AIT is also interesting. When I actually came on, my job was to run the division for development management. But then along the way, and we worked very closely in what is known as the AIT Extension Cluster, which is a group of 9 independent units that work together to take whatever knowledge creation, whatever research, whatever academic work happens at AIT and push it into the realm of public use, public applications and common knowledge. So the outreach function. So when we were working together with the Yunus Center, my predecessor Dr. Riaz Khan was running the Yunus Center. We would often cooperate and collaborate in a number of enterprises, because development management is the science of actually getting managers in development ready for development work. Whereas Yunus Center was doing a lot of work with the development sector, trying to convert some of good ideas into social businesses. So collaborating and working closely with the Yunus Center, I came to a point where it was time for Dr. Riaz to move back to his faculty role. And then they were looking for somebody to take on the role of the Yunus Center. And it seemed a very small step sideways to club the managerial, the management development role that the Development Management Center does to the role of the Yunus Center, which uses some of those management skills and couples them with ideas of development and rolls out social businesses. So it was not a difficult or a problematic journey. It was a very natural step into simply expanding the development management capacity role into a more active business development role. And I must confess that it's been a very rewarding time. We've come up with some very interesting projects, some of which you will become familiar with if you decide to work with us at AIT. And I'll tell you how that is possible. We have internships every year. The Yunus Center internships at AIT bring people from all over the world for short stints, as little as 3 weeks and as much as about 6 weeks, to actually learn the precepts of social business as Professor Yunus propounds them, look at examples and working models of social business as we see them having impact on their societies. Some of them are successes, others are still works in progress, some are actually abject lessons as well. But interns get to take a look at how social business works in the real world, and finally they come to pull together a lot of the random understanding, knowledge and what we call knowledge handles together, and see how a lot of background knowledge contributes to creating good social businesses, whether it is hard business sense, whether it is sociology, whether it's anthropology, whether it's political science, whether it's business studies. A lot of majors who come in here will suddenly find that what they are seeing in front of their eyes in the shape of living, working social businesses or enterprises is actually bringing back a lot of the stuff they studied in school from a different perspective, but which is in actual use now in the real world. So I think the internship is a great idea for you to consider if you're heading out to Asia for some experience or some other learning activity. What we also want to sort of spread out here is this idea that good business people can also be great human beings, and this is not a mutually exclusive description. We have some wonderful people who have some great ideas. All they need is a little brainstorming, a little support in creating how a business works, and they will run forward. There are other people who are just absolutely great managers. All they need is some inspiration, some idea, some social business lead which will convert their wonderful organizational skills into a social business. So all that is possible, or perhaps the first step is possible in the internship program. So I hope there will be interest in the social business internships at the Yunus Center AIT. I hope some of you will be interested to join us. It is competitive, it's not easy to get in, but if you do, I can guarantee you that apart from the wonderful people you will meet, we have more than 40 nationalities at AIT, apart from the wonderful environment you have, and apart from the exposure you get to social business, and of course the chance to meet Professor Yunus himself, you will also be part of one of the most vibrant cities in the world, perhaps the most visited city in the world, which is Bangkok. So I hope to welcome some of you to Bangkok, and I hope that this event is a success for you. Have a good one.